This is Featherquill, the last game on the list that was from that jam about birds. So after this, there will be no more birds. They're gonna evolve back into dinosaurs. In the midst of a cold winter's night, a crow tengu rests beneath the soil with a certain warmth enveloping her. Not just the warmer surroundings of the underground palace she's visiting, but the hot flash caused by her own anxiety. She stands in front of the door to the room of the palace's mistress, wanting nothing more than to knock, but not having the courage to do so. It's silly, she thinks to herself. The atmosphere is surprisingly lively, so why is she even freezing up like this? Because of how long it's been since the last time she tried interviewing someone? Because her interview idea itself is silly. Because she might be considered annoying. Because there's always that one voice screaming at her that her words aren't of worth, that she should just quit while she's ahead. That she's both not seeing enough of the world, yet wasting everyone's time when she tries. That... come on. Come in. I've been told to expect you. Who knew a moment of anger was all it took to focus? The Kuro Tengu, Hatate Himikaido, enters the room to immediate awe. This was her casual workplace. It was large enough to be a whole library. I am not doing my terrible Hatate voice for the entirety of this. Whoa, I am sorry. I hope I didn't pick a bad time to come. I don't think I have a voice for Satori anyway, so it's fine. Don't worry, I wasn't really doing much today. Hatate takes a deep breath and does her best to put on her work face. Aha, well, okay, it's nice to meet you, Satori Komeiji. Yeah, the music's pretty low, but I've learned by now that if I can hear the music, it's too loud, so it's staying low. Likewise, Hatate Himikaido. Right, the pet who introduced me at your doorstep would have told you my name. Indeed. She, like remotely controls how that eye moves. I assume so. Much like your own normal eyes, you just kind of move it around. That's how weird that would be, because you can like do one thing. Imagine like you like close one eye, like moving the other one. You're also moving the third one at the same time, or like move three eyes at the same time. Try to imagine do that. Feel weird, wouldn't it? Tate approaches Satori's desk, giving an anxious glance towards Satori's third eye, staring right towards her. If it's not too much to ask, do you mind pointing that thing away? It's kind of an invasion of privacy, eh? Satori lets out a hefty sigh, but listens and follows suit regardless, shifting her eye to the side. Does it make you feel more comfortable? No, put a towel over it. Yes, thank you. Satori gestures toward the free chair on the other side of her table. Hatate takes the invitation, finding the chair surprisingly comfortable. How well made was the furniture down there? Seriously, how does that work anyway? Can she just like, seriously, just like put a towel over her eye and she can't read people's minds anymore? I don't know, it works however you want it to, it's so vague. Oh, or well, maybe the furniture in the Tengu village just really sucked. So I take it you're here to interview me, right? Is there anything you particularly had in mind? Well, it's that I was quite fascinated hearing stories about your vast collection of pets. I figured a piece on the birds here in particular would be just the kind of thing for my paper. The Pluto goofy situation here. It's like we're a race of bird people, but we have pet birds. I can already tell you have some really fun critters around here, so I'd love to learn more about them, and I'm sure the readers of the Kakashi Spirit News would love to as well. Oh, you're taking an interest in my pets. Here, I was worried you were going to ask some annoying questions about my private life. Please, I have better things to do than that. I'm more tasteful than some others. In that case, I'd actually love to take you up on your offer. Wait, really? You don't think it's too silly of an idea or anything? No, of course not. I could talk about my pets for hours. And well, I don't typically get any visitors in the first place, although you usually don't appreciate their company either. Yeah, I can unfortunately understand why. Some people down here seem really mean. It's almost like it's formally hell or something. You get used to it. For the better or worse, it hasn't stopped me from doing what I truly love, at least. Tate couldn't help but wonder what kind of hobbies Satori got up to in her spare time. Maybe it was impersonal enough to ask her about later. That's good, at least. Well, in any case, if you're down here, then how about we get this interview started? I already have a few particular pets I'd like to ask about. Feel free to shoot your questions then. The crane hiding around the garden, the stork and her little chick, the cockadoo resting beneath an abandoned bird cage, the kiwi bird freaking zooming around the place, holy crap. So when I was poking around your garden, I found this guy hiding in a bush. I managed to lure him out for this picture though. I'm extremely curious to know how you even have a proper garden down here, but I think I'll hold that question for a little while. What's this bird really like? That would be Atlas. As you can see, he's a bit of a shy fellow. What he's absolutely not shy about is his appetite, however. Atlas will truly eat damn near anything you give him, but when we got the garden going, I don't think it's a coincidence he started building a nest there. He's lovely when you get to know him, though. And his appetite might simply be a part of the constantly changing diets that cranes usually exhibit. But as I've mentioned, he's mostly settled into the garden. It's where he feels the most comfortable in, and he's never been very sociable either. He's only ever really gotten along with one other pet in the palace, one of the many here, which would be Touhou. He quite literally picked the most nuclear option. Well, you know that question you were holding about how the garden is even maintainable in the underground like that in the first place? Touhou would be directly responsible for that, thanks to her ability to create artificial yet accurate suns for the plants to flourish from. Wait, that actually, kind of makes sense in a stupid way, but I get it, you know? I take it she doesn't just sit there for hours, right? Artificial stuns stick around for a long while. Artificial stun, she's good at providing lasting power like that. I'm very glad we have a proper plant life thanks to her, especially since the other plants' pets adore it all too. Of course, Atlas usually gets most of the berries first. Can't blame him for having his eye on the prize. I also wouldn't mind some of those berries right now, quite frankly. I'm getting kinda hungry right now. Do you mind if I take some later? Go ahead. The stork and her little chick. This stork and her chick are absolutely adorable. What's it like looking over a family? Yes, that's Monokura and one of her chicks, Banira. It's worth noting that I raised two storks since they were chicks, imported from the mountain around the entrance to the underground. So just seeing them go on to make a family together has been really sweet for me. To get into what it's like looking after a family though, I think I've gotten pretty used to it since they mostly take care of themselves anyway. However, I do my best to help provide for the chicks just to take some of the stress off the parents. And they really are adorable when they're together. I remember how fascinating it was watching them build a nest together, constantly providing for each other while waiting for the eggs to hatch. And when the time came, watching their chicks start to lovingly follow them, it was just so precious for me. And then those chicks would start to play with the other birds too. That's been absolutely wonderful to observe. I think it's really reinforced this sense of community I've always loved in regards to raising all these different animals. It can get really hard to maintain so many pets, but it's really satisfying at the end of the day, and I wouldn't change a thing. You know, I think that's the perfect note to end this section of the interview on. I think this is just the kind of lovely and inspiring things my readers would love to see. Thank you. I perhaps got a little carried away there, honestly. Sometimes honesty is like that. That is definitely true. I don't think have I ever mentioned this? Yeah, Orin, my cat. She was, one of the kittens of my mom's cat, who's no longer alive. But, I mean, one of her sisters still is. See her when I go visit my mother. The cockadoo resting beneath an abandoned bird cage. Something funny I happened to notice was a cockadoo underneath the rather abandoned bird cage. I take it you like letting your birds fly freely. Yes, I find my pets in better spirits when they aren't as restricted around the palace. Most of them behave pretty well regardless. This cockadoo, Percy, though, happens to be one of the worst behaved ones. Haha, ironic that you'd find him near an abandoned cage. Percy is quite the rowdy one. He frequently gets into fights with the parrots in the palace, verbally, mind you. Oh no, surely one of the greatest arguments would ensure. You go like, bakak bakak, bak bak bak, doodly doo, bakak. Yeah, something like that. So I'm sure this bird makes chicken noises. That would make sense. It's got even worse, after Utsuo taught the parrots how to swear, it's like hearing an actual underground brawl sometimes, except it's just loud squawking. Well, why does Utsuo know how to swear in the first place? And whose fault is that, huh? Almost like a Tengu brawl, too. The environment follows me wherever I go, damn it. Unfortunate. I'm still fond of Percy, however. He can be a handful, but he's quite handsome. He acts very proud, and I like seeing that in my pets. Nice face, Satori. I also might have named him after a protagonist from one of my favorite books. You know, just maybe. What, Percy Jackson? I've never read that. I'm not at all surprised you're the reading type, huh? Definitely, I spend hours reading books every single day. All these different stories by all these different authors across Gensokyo and the outside world. It gets really interesting. How many authors are in Gensokyo anyway? Besides, like Akio. Yeah, I got really sunk into fiction sometimes, too. It's just, like, really comfortable and all, you know? So I think it's really neat. You're sort of left a mark on how it's affected you onto a pet you love. Like, when I started thinking about dodging life around the Tengu village, I found books and manga to be a pretty great escape from my troubles. I could never really find other people to talk about them, unfortunately, but that didn't stop me from enjoying them on my own time. Like, there's one manga I read at the time about some kid who literally calls his monster friends into games of sport with a cell phone. And it might sound weird, but it's really entertaining at the end of the day. All of the monsters' designs were so freaking cool. I loved it. That sounds quite fun. I've never really found manga to be my thing. But since I am constantly on the lookout for more atypical fiction, maybe it's worth a shot. I could throw a few suggestions after this interview if you want. Consider me interested. And yes, I agree that fiction is a wonderful escape from the harshness of reality. I've gone through plenty of rough times for myself, but there's always been these great stories of the right people prevailing to keep me motivated in life. And it's exactly like that for me too. You know, I'm having a lot of fun talking to you, actually. Or more similar than I expected, you know? Likewise, this is fun. Oh yeah, we got completely sidetracked. Do you have any other stories about the Kakadu? Well, there's that one time he rode a cat into the absolute incredible mission of trying to impress another Kakadu, who unfortunately did not reciprocate. He rode a cat. He rode a cat? Okay. Damn, he even brought the noble steed. Well, at least I'm sure this is absolutely the kind of spicy relationship drama my readers would be looking for, right? Surely. Check what I have written down in my notes. The kiwi bird freaking zooming around the place, holy crap. So that little kiwi bird of yours, right? She seems really energetic. What's that like to deal with as a pet owner? I've had to change furniture in several rooms for Curry. Haha. No dear. You see, she's such a little ball of unfiltered energy that she kept constantly tripping around the place. Curry never got that hurt from any of her antics, but I started to realize she needed a bit of help, you know? I love her, but she's been one of my most handful pets. Glad you've given her some good care. Seems like a really good friend at the end of the day. Yes, very true. Not enough people down in the underground appreciate the idea that animals can be your friends. Curry's very different from what I used to. Curry's very different from what I was used to when I first adopted her, but in sticking it out with the learning process, I learned so many things to appreciate about her. She's so adorable to play with, for instance, an absolutely fantastic cuddler, too. Oh, that's so cute. Glad I managed to find her. Kiwi birds are very extant, like many things I've taken under my wings. I really wonder how she even got down here in the first place. Very extant. I don't know that word. And well, kiwis aren't exactly really good at defending themselves. Running, sure, but I'd hardly expect one to fight. She could have gotten seriously hurt before I ever laid my eyes on her. I may not have ever met her at all, but she's found somewhere comfortable to be here, and I think that's really nice. Yeah, I've always wondered what the climate for animals must be like down here. Awful, most of the time. The underground requires adaptation, and a lot of creatures who aren't born from the more magical parts of nature simply aren't built for it. Nor do a lot of people down here, especially around former hell, know how to take care of the more fragile creatures. How would that even work? Like, this was hell, right? Hell had an ecosystem of animals? Or did the animals not come in here until after it was hell? I don't know. The whole concept of there being a former hell is just so ridiculous. I don't know. Which is why Kuru is a large example of why I'm a pet owner, I think. I like to view the Palace of the Earth Spirits as a safe haven in a sea of terrible pet owners. Maybe calling myself the one who cares is a bit egotistical, but I think it's true. I don't think I would disagree. This place is way more comfortable to be in than the rest of former hell to me. Really now, most Tengu I've met are quite the partying type. I'm usually sitting on the sidelines of most parties. Crowds can get kind of too much for me. Maybe I'm not too far from a little bird myself. You're certainly tall for one. Yes, I'm glad you're comfortable here. And I'm happy your pets can feel the same. Let's check on what I've written down in my notes. I think that's everything. Question mark? Well, those are some nice fellows of yours. I think the readers of the Kakashi Spirit News are absolutely going to love this upcoming article. Or at least that's what she really hoped anyway. Thank you so much for your time, Satori. That was a wonderful interview. Good time was had by all, but I am pooped. I appreciate you coming down here. It's rare I have visitors I actually enjoy talking to. I'm glad I could be one of the few. In any case, as much as I love to stay, I should really get going and have this article out soon. I'll be on my way and I'll grab a snack on the way out. Actually, Hatate, before you go, do you mind if we talk for a bit? There's something I noticed when you came here that bothered me. Huh? It's just you seemed extremely anxious when you got here. I could catch that you were really worried about being able to get some good material from this. Do you need someone to talk to? You're getting really worked up about your writing at all. I feel like I might be able to help if you're willing to confide in me. I don't know, it's just... But Hatate couldn't help but think to herself, who else had ever even cared to ask her this? I suppose I could, try talking about it a bit. Maybe you're right, maybe it would help. Talk about as much as you think you need to. Hatate took a long deep breath, then settled on where to start. So, I guess it's important to start with the context that I'm pretty young by the standards of a Tengu. Yes, one of those long-lived, 1,000-year-old species where they don't go into maturity till 100 or something. Yeah, one of those. I haven't had the hundreds of thousands of years to grab experience on things in comparison to everyone else. A few years ago, I was finally thrust into the newspaper workforce. At the time, I was actually pretty excited for it. Because to me, I could finally follow in the footsteps of my idol at the time. Tell me, Satori, have you ever been unfortunate enough to meet Aya Shimemaru? A few times, sadly. Yeah, that sounds about right. Back then, I always found her newspaper really exciting. But occasionally, I'd notice something wrong slip through the cracks based on my own research. When I felt like I had a decent grasp of the whole thing, I tried going up to her and giving her my honest feedback. I was polite, I wasn't really trying to be antagonistic, and I just wanted to help someone I really respected at the time. She ignored every piece of advice I gave her. Every single one. Then put me down for it. She said my work was awful when I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt in regards to the problems I had with hers. And that just really deflated me at the time. I've always been trying to push my newspaper to some level of actual notoriety, but it never gets anywhere with the way that I do things. But I don't want to just mindlessly put bait in every title. I don't want to just focus on what's trendy. I just want to talk about the little things in the world I've grown to love. Apparently that's not good enough. And I just feel so burnt out and anxious recently. I have a lot worse social anxiety than the majority of people around me. I can't just make connections easily in the same way that everyone else can. And it makes me question what I'm even supposed to do, besides slam my head against the wall every day until something magically works. Until I finally write something I'm proud of that gets people's attention. I see. There's a lot to take in. Well, let's start with the question, before I get into anything further. Do you truly enjoy writing at the end of the day? Yes? Do you view it as an escape in the same way reading does? Sometimes. Then it seems to me that your problem is that you forgot how to enjoy writing. You're gonna need to take a step back for yourself here. Are you writing for yourself, or are you writing to raise an arbitrary number? You might not have a large following at the end of the day, but what matters is that the people who do read what you have to say care about it. Didn't you just say a bit ago about how you thought your readers were going to love what you had to show? Was that just you pulling a face for your own sake? Okay, I perhaps maybe went a touch too far there. You didn't. It's the honest truth, and you were right to say it. Alright. regardless, you see my point here, right? You do have confidence about what you're doing somewhere. Perhaps you should be paying more attention to it. Stop trying to please bad actors. Stop trying to make a number grow as if it's the only sign of your skill. Focus on making what you want to create at the end of the day. And if you feel that you must appease someone, focus on the people who aren't just trying to drag you down. There's an extreme difference between valuable criticism and unnecessary hatred. You need to start figuring out where that line is defined. If you can learn to keep yourself happy with what you do, you can find that spark again. It won't come instantly, and it may not even come for a while. But you can get there, you just have to calm down and try. I suppose you're right, huh? Take it all from someone who once learned how to write as a coping mechanism for their troubles. I can tell you love what you do deep down, and I understand that desire to prove yourself as well. So don't let the latter consume you to the point you lose the spark for the former. I can't help too much more than that without having your writing directly in my hands, but I hope any of this was useful to you. I think it really was, thank you. It's kind of really rare that people actually try to help me with something. I'll try and step back for a few days. See if I can find the wind for my wings again. And when I'm ready, well, I'll try and make something I'm proud of. Cannot stress how much I've loved seeing what I have today. What I do can inspire anyone. I'm truly honored. Again, thank you so much for everything. For the pictures, the interview, the advice, all of it. I really should be heading on my way. But I'll try and make the best of what's to come. That's the spirit. Kakashi spirit. News. Thank you for coming down here, Hatate. I hope we can meet again soon. I wish the same. See you around, Satori. Have a good night. Same to you. Hatate was going to have to spend a while figuring out exactly what to do from here. Maybe it wasn't even worth planning out the exact details. But wherever her life and career may go from here, she was ready to soar. Right. Was that another shorter visual novel? Which is good, because I need to record a lot today, so it's good that I happen to be getting shorter things. I still have this keyboard. Do I do this dumb bit at the end, outro of every single one of these things? I already chose one, right? I chose one. Chose two. Honky Tonk Piano. In the Wild West. There you go. Now every time I do this bit, I like sing at the same time I press the notes, and that's because I actually tried like singing and like playing something different at the same time, and it doesn't really work because much how I don't understand how you can like play two things, like two things at the same time with two different hands. Like I can't sing and like play something that I'm not singing at the same time. Too much for my brain to handle, you know? I don't get it. Bird is the word of the day, but it will not be for long, because, as I said, at the start of this, there's no more bird games. Anyway, I'm just stalling at this point. That was that. Bye.